never really expect something like this to happen, do you? I always thought of myself as careful, aware of my surroundings, the type of person who notices small details. But nothing, and I mean nothing, could have prepared me for the experience I'm about to share. It started when my girlfriend and I moved into our new house. It was everything we had dreamed of. A cozy, modest home that felt like it was made for us. We had rescued a cat together, Bella, and she immediately made herself at home. For the first few days, life was perfect. The unpacking, the excitement, the small victories of arranging furniture. It all felt surreal in the best way. There was only one small issue. The house directly to our right looked abandoned. The previous owner had started renovating it, but never finished. The backyards were connected, and there was no fence separating them. It wasn't ideal, but we didn't think much of it at first. I remember the first time we'd noticed them. Some young men who lived in the house behind the abandoned property, cutting across the backyards to reach the street. At the time, it seemed innocent enough. Maybe they had permission, maybe they didn't. We didn't want to make assumptions. The first night, though, something felt off. We were sitting in our backyard, enjoying the quiet evening and the stars. That's when I noticed a man staring at us from a window across the way. He wasn't trying to hide. His gaze was blank, chilling. It didn't make sense. Why would someone just stare like that? We assumed it was curiosity, nothing more. But after half an hour of that vacant stare, we went inside. The next few days were uneventful. Work, unpacking, normal routines. But soon, the small things began to escalate. One night, as we sat in the garden again, we heard the creak of a makeshift fence being lifted. 3 men appeared. They didn't introduce themselves. One, younger than the rest, held a large bag. He offered us stolen washing up tablets. I made a nervous joke, trying to ease the tension, and they left. It struck me how easily they had entered our backyard, as if it were their right. It was uncomfortable, intimidating, and yet I tried to convince myself it was just a one-off. But then it continued. They came back, more often, and their behavior changed. They walked through the abandoned house's backyard like it was theirs. My girlfriend and I, both 20, couldn't help but feel the intimidation was directed at us. The fear wasn't loud or obvious at first. It was subtle, psychological. The police came once when I called them. They lifted the fence, looked around, and left without a word. Later, they explained that the house behind us was vacant and the men had been evicted for antisocial behavior. Relief washed over me. Finally, some sense of security. But the peace didn't last. One evening, while I was in the bathroom, I heard a loud bang outside. My girlfriend had the camera recording from our spare bedroom window. A man we had never seen ran toward our house, tried the door handle, then retreated. It was terrifying, and the police were called immediately. They took our statement, but reassured us that the attempts didn't constitute a break-in. From that night on, any sound outside made us anxious. Whistles at 2:16 a.m., tapping on windows, the doorbell removed with the SD card taken. All signs pointed to someone trying to intimidate us. We called the police multiple times. Each time, they did little beyond giving standard advice. Keep doors and windows locked. Then came the night I will never forget. Around 3 a.m., two masked men appeared outside our house, shining flashlights into the windows. One held what looked like a crowbar. They didn't enter, but their presence alone was enough to make sleep impossible. Each day after that, we felt watched. We documented everything, but the feeling of helplessness persisted. The most chilling moment happened when a man in black, hood up, arms spread like he was imitating a crucifix, stood across the street, staring at our bedroom window for 30 minutes. The police told us it wasn't illegal, but legally or not, fear is real, and it doesn't care about legality. We tried to maintain normalcy, but the mental toll was heavy. We couldn't sleep, couldn't relax. Every stranger's glance felt loaded with meaning. Even when the harassment didn't escalate physically, the psychological weight was overwhelming. Eventually, we installed cameras, secured every door and window, and made a plan. We weren't going to be victims, not entirely, but even with precautions, fear lingered. The realization was simple, yet terrifying. Sometimes the world doesn't protect you the way you expect it to. Sometimes, even when someone is caught or evicted, the threat remains, invisible and uncertain. Looking back now, I see the small warning signs I ignored. The abandoned house, the blare. Warning signs I ignored. The abandoned house, the blank stares, the casual intrusion. Each one was a thread in a pattern I refused to see. And now, every time I hear a creak outside or notice a shadow move in the yard, I remember that fear doesn't always have a face, but it always leaves an imprint. If there's one thing I want you to take away from this, it's that awareness is everything. Trust your instincts. Take threats seriously, even when the law or neighbors downplay them. And above all, remember that what scares us most isn't always supernatural. Sometimes it's simply other people and their capacity to make us feel powerless in our own homes.